The magical land of Oz is ruled by the wizard and his secretary Madame Morrible. However, the wizard has a huge secret: he doesn't actually have any magic powers, he's just a human from Earth who traveled across worlds. Morrible helps him keep up the lie because it gives her status and political power. Citizens venerate the wizard as the savior of Oz. One day, the duo tricks Elphaba into using the Grimoire, a powerful magic book that not many people can read. Elphaba is horrified to discover that the wizard is a fraud and has been behind the persecution of talking animals. The wizard claims Oz was in disarray before he took over and asks Elphaba to rule with him, but he just wants her magic. Elphaba refuses and flies away with the Grimoire, so the wizard and Morrible tell the citizens that she's evil. This earns her a reputation as the Wicked Witch of the West. A year later, a yellow brick road is being built to connect all the lands to Emerald City. Animals are forced into labor and constantly abused by the soldiers. When a beast collapses from exhaustion, a soldier forces it to keep going. Suddenly a flash of magic breaks the chains and the animals are now free. A soldier gets his whip ready to punish the creatures but is taken from his hands by Elphaba, who is flying behind him. The soldiers start running away in fear, but Elphaba is a fast flyer and goes after them to hit them with the whip or her broom. When a soldier tries to attack her, her whip gets stuck on the broom and Elphaba drags her around the area to hit other soldiers before throwing her into the paint. At that moment Elphaba sees the wizard's flying monkeys coming, so she jumps on her broom and flies away to escape. Soon the attack appears in the newspaper and people's fear of Elphaba increases. Morrible makes it worse by hanging up signs and spreading flyers full of propaganda against the so-called Wicked Witch. However, Elphaba is determined to keep fighting and show Oz that the wizard is a fraud. Meanwhile, Elphaba's former friend Glinda has been promoted to work for Morrible and the wizard, and people believe she'll save them from Elphaba. Signs present her as Glinda the Good as part of the propaganda campaign. One day, Morrible visits Glinda to bring her a gift made by the wizard. It's called Spherical Globule, and it's a sofa that creates a bubble that will make it look like Glinda can fly. Morrible also gives her a very fancy wand and tells Glinda she must keep people's spirits up by being the good witch. A flashback shows a young Glinda receiving a magic wand for her birthday and all the other kids ask her to do some magic. However, no matter how hard Glinda tries, nothing happens. Suddenly a rainbow appears outside and Glinda pretends she made it to keep everyone happy. In private, Glinda tells her mother that she wants to be magical for real, but her mother says that everyone loves her and that will be enough. In the present, Glinda floats down to the province of Munchkinland and inaugurates the Yellow Brick Road. Morrible takes the chance to announce Glinda's engagement to Fiyero, the captain of the Gale Force. This takes Fiyero by surprise, but he plays along while pretending to be happy about it. Then Morrible tells the crowd about Fiyero's efforts to fight Elphaba and horrible rumors start spreading about her again. Fiyero drags Glinda to discuss the situation since he doesn't like hearing people talking badly about Elphaba, and insists they should find her before someone else kills her. Glinda swears she doesn't like it either, but they must do it to keep the kingdom at peace. Fiyero thinks she does it because she likes the attention and popularity, and Glinda sees nothing wrong with this, reminding him that Elphaba already made her choice. The couple shares a very awkward kiss and Fiyero agrees to marry her to keep her happy, but he refuses to answer when Glinda asks if it'll make him happy too. Afterward, Glinda goes back to the stage and pretends she's very happy before pressing a button to set off fireworks. As the sky fills with colors, Elphaba flies in and writes "Our wizard lies in the clouds." Morrible immediately uses her magic to change the letters to Oz dies, which terrifies the population. Fiyero calls his soldiers and the flying monkeys to chase Elphaba through the forest. The monkeys throw nets at her, but she dodges them and the nets trap other monkeys instead. When Elphaba hides behind a tree, Fiyero pretends he doesn't see her and tells his soldiers it's time to go home because the witch has escaped. Elphaba is heartbroken to see that the man she loves is hunting her too and runs to her hideout, where she furiously destroys some papers while remembering the days when she was friends with everyone. Meanwhile, Elphaba's wheelchair-bound sister Nessa has become the governor of Munchkinland after her father's death. She is about to pass a law that will force animals to need a permit to travel, and her head guard Bach is appalled. Nessa defends herself by explaining that she needs to prove she isn't like her sister, who abandoned her when she needed her the most, but Bach still announces that he quits. Later at the train station, Bach isn't allowed to leave. It turns out the law has gone into effect and now both animals and munchkins need a permit to travel. Guards kick entire families off the train for not having their permits. In the forest, a huge group of animals is escaping the land through a tunnel underneath the road. Elphaba tries to convince them to stay and help them fight the wizard, but they're too scared to join her. At that moment she's approached by Dulcibert, who used to be Elphaba's nanny. Dulcibert explains that Oz isn't safe for animals anymore, so their only choice is to take the tunnel to the place beyond Oz. It's said that the place is just emptiness and Elphaba worries about the animals' survival while having a strange vision of that land. Dulcibert points out that Elphaba may not survive in Oz either because people won't rest until she's dead. While the flying monkeys secretly land on the trees, Elphaba tells the animals that there's no place like home and they should fight for it. She's suddenly interrupted by the cowardly lion, who tells the others that it was Elphaba who put the wings on the monkeys, allowing them to become the wizard's spies. Elphaba admits it's true and tries to explain that the wizard tricked her, but the animals don't trust her anymore and leave through the tunnel. Sometime later Bach is working for Nessa again, but he treats her coldly and doesn't participate in her attempts to chit-chat. When Bach sees a magazine with an article about Glinda's and Fiero's engagement, he takes it away. After he leaves, Elphaba appears in Nessa's office, causing the mirror to break. Nessa immediately calls Elphaba out for not coming to their father's funeral, and Elphaba points out that he hated her for being green. Then Elphaba asks Nessa for help with the animals, but Nessa wants her help first, saying she wants things to be happy and carefree like their time in school. When Elphaba admits she doesn't know what to do, the grimoire opens to show her a spell. Elphaba immediately casts this spell on Nessa's shoes, which turn red and start feeling hot. Suddenly Nessa begins to float and laughs happily because she finally left her wheelchair. Elphaba is also happy because her magic has finally done something good. At that moment Bach bursts into the room and is shocked by the scene. Nessa asks him not to be afraid of Elphaba because she came to help and hopes they can finally be together. However, Bach thinks Nessa doesn't need him anymore and asks for a permit so he can go to the city. He admits he's in love with Glinda and wants to confess to her before the wedding. An incredibly jealous Nessa won't allow it and grabs the grimoire to cast a spell that will get her Bach's heart. Unfortunately, she doesn't pronounce the words well and Bach feels ill when his heart starts shrinking. Spells from the grimoire can't be reversed, so Elphaba must look for an alternative. After kicking Nessa out of the room, Elphaba casts a new spell that saves Bach's life. On her way out, Elphaba tells Nessa that she's going to the wedding to show everyone the truth about the wizard. Nessa thinks she's actually going for Fiero and asks her sister to stay with her. However, Elphaba says that no matter what she does is never enough for Nessa and leaves anyway. Then Nessa hears a noise in the room and is startled by someone breaking down the door. It turns out Elphaba has transformed Bach into the Tin Man so he could live without a heart. He's repelled by his reflection in the mirror and starts screaming at Nessa, who blames it all on Elphaba. A very upset Bach runs away. In the evening Elphaba arrives in Emerald City, where everyone is getting ready for the wedding. She breaks Glinda's window to make her come out, but Glinda is worried about the monkeys so she makes Elphaba go inside before hugging her. After a very awkward reunion, Glinda wants to take Elphaba to see the wizard and hopefully get a deal, but Elphaba doesn't want to involve her in this mess and leaves alone. Minutes later Elphaba appears in the wizard's workshop at the same time that Glinda bursts through the door. Glinda and the wizard want to start over with Elphaba, who turns them down and demands that the wizard tell people the truth. The wizard explains that citizens won't believe him even if he admits he's lying, and Glinda points out that if Elphaba works with them everyone will trust her again. Then Glinda holds Elphaba's hand and they sit together while she describes all the amazing things they could do together. The wizard drags the girl to his trick room and Elphaba allows herself to have some fun with them. However, she freezes when she sees the wizard's big face machine, which reminds her of her goal. She agrees to work with them and keep the wizard's secret, but only if he frees all the animals in Oz. The wizard agrees and gives Elphaba the key to the monkey cage. She immediately opens it and apologizes for her spell before telling them they're free. The monkeys screech as they fly out of the building in seconds. After the wizard leaves for the wedding, the monkey leader comes back and moves a painting of the wizard to reveal a hidden room behind it. Elphaba is horrified to find hundreds of animals in cages, including her old goat teacher. They've all lost the ability to speak. While the wedding ceremony begins, the wizard returns and claims this isn't what it looks like, justifying himself by saying that some animals can't be trusted. Elphaba concludes he's the beast that can't be trusted as her magic opens the cages. The animals start chasing after the wizard and the pursuit takes them to the main hall, so they end up interrupting the wedding. While the crowd runs in panic, Morrible tells them that this is another attack from Elphaba, who wants to kill them all. The animals surround Morrible and smash her face into the cake. The wizard tries to hide in his workshop and Elphaba throws his broom at him to capture him. At that moment Fiero arrives with his soldiers and he tells them to bring lots of water since supposedly Elphaba is weak to it. Then Fiero removes the broom to free the wizard, but after some consideration, he points his gun at him. While throwing the broom back at Elphaba, Fiero forces the wizard to get into a cage under threat of revealing his secret. Elphaba wants to have a moment with Fiero, however Glinda arrives and demands an explanation. Fiero announces that he's leaving with Elphaba and Glinda is heartbroken to realize they've always been in love with each other, but she lets them go so they can be happy. While Glinda has a breakdown, Morrible arrives late with the soldiers and the water. She frees the wizard and they discuss a way to lure Elphaba out. Glinda says they should spread a rumor that Nessa is in danger, but Morrible thinks Elphaba won't fall for it and wants to make it real. Then Glinda returns to the Great Hall and cries over the failed wedding. In Elphaba's hideout, she and Fiero share their feelings and fly together before they get naughty for the first time. When they're done, Fiero mentions that his family has an extra castle where they can hide, but Elphaba is hesitant. At the palace, Morrible uses her magic to create a storm that soon becomes a powerful cyclone. Everyone in Munchkin Land runs to hide, but Nessa keeps wandering the streets looking for Bach. Her screams reach Elphaba, who has a vision of the cyclone bringing a house from another world and crushing her sister. Elphaba is desperate to help her, so she and Fiero agree to reunite later. When he leaves the hideout, he's surrounded by the flying monkeys. After the storm is over, a girl named Dorothy comes out of the mysterious house with her dog. Glinda gives her Nessa's shoes and tells her to follow the yellow brick road to find the wizard. who will help her return to Kansas. When Elphaba arrives, she discovers that her sister has already been killed by the house. Glinda calls it an accident and Elphaba snaps, pointing out that cyclones don't appear overnight. She's also angry because Glinda sent Dorothy to the wizard knowing he doesn't actually have powers. When Elphaba mentions that the shoes weren't Glinda's to give away, Glinda replies that she isn't the only one who took something that didn't belong to her. Elphaba reminds her that Fiyero never belonged to her and Glinda slaps her, so Elphaba slaps her back. Then they start fighting each other with the wand and the broom, and Elphaba easily dodges Glinda's attacks by flying. A frustrated Glinda drops her wand and jumps on Elphaba to fight her hand to hand. At that moment the soldiers arrive and pull them apart to arrest Elphaba, who realizes Glinda was part of the plan to capture her. Their argument is interrupted by the monkeys arriving with Fiyero, who threatens to shoot Glinda if the soldiers don't let go of Elphaba. The men immediately free her and Fiyero gives her back the broom, telling her to leave without him. Glinda also gives Elphaba her hat but refuses to say a word. Elphaba then flies off and Fiyero tells the monkey to follow her to protect her. When he puts his gun down, the soldiers quickly arrest him. Later Fiyero is being tortured for information about Elphaba, who sees this in a vision. She rushes to the grimoire and casts a spell to protect his body from harm. This transforms Fiyero into a scarecrow, which makes Elphaba realize that whenever she tries to help someone, she ends up making things worse. She concludes she may be wicked after all and sends out the flying monkeys, telling them to retrieve Nessa's shoes. In the evening, Morrible brings Dorothy to the palace with 3 friends she made through her journey, Bach, Fiyero, and the Cowardly Lion. The wizard uses his machine to appear mighty and tells them to kill Elphaba in exchange for their wishes to be granted, asking for the broom as proof. The group leaves the palace and the citizens cheer for them, encouraging them to kill Elphaba. Bach tells everyone that the wicked witch ruined his life while Glinda watches from her balcony. Unable to deal with this, Glinda returns to her room and wonders if she's made the right choices. Afterward Glinda goes to see Morrible and wonders if they've gone too far. When she asks her about the cyclone, Morrible grabs her by the wrist and snaps, saying she knows Glinda acts nice but deep down she wanted this from the beginning. Her only job from now on is to smile for the crowd and keep her mouth shut. Finally realizing that she's been on the wrong side all along, Glinda leaves on a horse. At that moment the monkeys kidnap Dorothy and Glinda sees them in the sky, so she follows them. At Fiyero's castle, Elphaba locks Dorothy up in the basement, saying she'll only free her when she takes off her shoes. Glinda soon arrives and tries to make Elphaba see reason, but Elphaba has embraced her role as the Wicked Witch now. Their conversation is interrupted by a flying monkey, who brings Elphaba a letter. Glinda wonders if it's a message from Fiyero and Elphaba tells her that they've seen his face for the last time. As Glinda cries over Fiyero's death, Elphaba announces it's time for her to surrender. Glinda freaks out and wants to clear her name, however Elphaba asks her not to do it because people need a villain to believe in Glinda's goodness. Then she gives Glinda the grimoire, asking her to learn to read it to create change in Oz. The women hold hands while reaffirming their deep friendship. Hearing the angry mob getting closer, Elphaba makes Glinda hide in a closet and they tell each other I love you before she closes the door. Through a hole in the door, Glinda is horrified to watch how Dorothy arrives and throws water at Elphaba, causing her to melt away. After Dorothy leaves with the broom, Glinda rushes to hug Elphaba's hat and cry in grief. The monkey leader approaches her to give her a green elixir bottle that Elphaba always had as a keepsake from her mother. Moments later Glinda shows the bottle to the wizard, who immediately recognizes the elixir. It turns out he was the one who made Elphaba's mother drink the elixir before they got naughty, which explains her green skin. Glinda concludes that Elphaba had amazing powers because she was a mix of both worlds, confirming that the wizard was Elphaba's biological father. With the monkeys behind her as terrifying backup, Glinda kicks the wizard out of Oz. In the morning, Glinda takes Morrible to the balcony so they can watch the wizard leave in his hot air balloon. Fearing for her position, Morrible starts to apologize and asks for mercy, but Glinda lets the monkeys take her away. The city is celebrating Elphaba's death and Glinda joins them in her bubble to announce she's the new leader of Oz. When someone asks her if it's true that she and Elphaba were friends, Glinda only says they used to be classmates. Then Glinda makes all the animals come out and tells them they're free to live in Oz without restrictions. Meanwhile Fiyero arrives at the castle and opens a hatch on the ground, revealing that Elphaba hid there while faking her death. He thanks her for making him a scarecrow because it saved his life and Elphaba calls him beautiful. When they run away together, they match Elphaba's vision of the place beyond Oz. Meanwhile the grimoire glows and opens for Glinda. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.